Even with the economical crisis, the Upper East Side continues to be full of luxury restaurants. It doesn't matter how bad things are, as long as people can afford a $10 steak, we'll be convinced that everything is okay. Little Peninsula, rare and limited edition books. There's no question that the matches I found at the port are from here. But how could an antique bookstore on the Upper East Side have anything to do with Sean's death? Maybe I'm on the wrong track, or maybe this bookstore does more than just restoring books. A rather showy signboard for an antique bookstore. This building seems slightly dowdier than the others. Second-class aristocrats must live here. So, in theory, these crates should contain materials to bind books, or something else useful for an antique bookstore. But I recognize the stamp of booze transports on a couple of these crates. I didn't remember that you needed gin to restore books. Empty boxes, nothing interesting. They've even pasted the alleys with this crap they call electoral campaign. A mailbox. Before sticking my nose in somebody's mail, I have to at least have a good reason to do it. It's the service door for the Little Peninsula. Closed. There's a call box near the door. It looks like no one's in there.
Yes?
Hi, is this the Little Peninsula warehouse?
Yes, of course. Can I help you?
I'd like some information.
If you want information about our catalog, you can come by tomorrow morning when we're open. Unfortunately, we're doing inventory at the moment. Unless you reserved a book, I can't be of any help.
I reserved a book.
Can you please give me the title?
A 29 Ben-Hur with a misprint on page 159.
Let me check. I'm sorry, sir. We don't have that book. If you come back tomorrow, we can reserve it.
Chandler's latest novel.
Chandler. Sorry, we don't have anything by this author.
Forget it.
Goodbye.
An inventory in the middle of the night. It might be untrusting, but I don't buy it. There has to be something else under this place. Maybe I could find something interesting in the mailbox about this alleged bookstore. Well, if they use the lie about the inventory, I'll use the lie of being the mailman to get a look at their mail. The box has a lock. I need a cylindrical key to open it. The box has a lock. I need a cylindrical key to open it. Nothing to do. It's closed. Yes, the license is thin enough to put it through the gap between the box and the counter. Let's see. Perfect. I opened it. Luckily, no one has picked up the mail yet. Let's take a look. It's a telephone bill. It's billed to a guy named Edward Marzetti. I've heard this name before, but where? Maybe it'll come to mind if I think about it. doesn't make any sense. That's right. Greta's show was called Marzetti's Cats. It's not a very common name. It's gotta be the same person. Maybe Greta will be able to tell me something about this guy. I'd better put the bill back in its place.
Ah, you again. Where we go this time?
Essex Street, Lower East Side.
Whatever you want.
Hi, Greta.
Hi, Jack.
Do you know a certain Edward Marzetti?
Edward Marzetti. I haven't heard his name in years.
So you know him?
Unfortunately, yes. That's someone that I would have rather not known.
How do you know him?
Years ago, when I was still dancing, I worked at this little joint in Little Italy, New Naples. Marzetti was the owner. There were lots of joints like that at the time. There were at least a dozen on the same block. Marzetti bought them all over a few years. He became a sort of godfather in Little Italy. Whichever joint I had a show at, he was the owner.
What kind of guy is he?
The worst kind. He tries to pass himself off as this rich gentleman who supports the arts, theater, and shows. But he's really just a dirty businessman. His only real interests are women and money.
Interesting. Why was his name associated with your show in France?
He was the one who paid for everything. Our dance company was pretty successful here in New York, so Marzetti suggested we go to France. With his typically bad taste, he called the show Marzetti's Cats. Despite the name, it was pretty successful. All the shows were sold out.
Have you ever worked for him again?
No, it's been years since I've been out of that circle.
Do you know the Little Peninsula?
No. Is it a joint?
The owner is your friend, Marzetti. It's an antique bookstore on the Upper East Side. At least, that's what it wants to look like.
Marzetti isn't a guy who spends his days talking about literature. There's definitely something underneath the surface.
I'm sure about it. That's why I have to get in. There's a door in the back of the store, but I think that you need a password or a card to get in. Do you know how to get in?
I haven't been to those places in years, Jack. I don't know how I could help you.
Do you still have any friends in that circle? Do you know anyone who knows how to get in that joint?
I know that I'll be sorry for what I'm about to tell you, but I think I know someone who could help you. And it's someone we both know.
Who?
Your friend Smiley.
Smiley?
Right. I think he works for Marsetti now.
How do you know that?
Before you got here tonight, he spent hours telling me about his new job. He never mentioned Marsetti, but he talked about a couple of joints he owned. If he doesn't work for Marsetti, he works for someone who works for him.
So Smiley might know how to get into the Little Peninsula.
Probably.
Let's change the subject. About Smiley.
I hate that guy.
He is often at the joint.
Tell me about it. He's here every day. He always gets here at 9 p.m., sits down, orders his stupid blueberry cocktail, and plants himself there. I hate him.
Do you have any idea why he always comes to your joint?
Unfortunately, yes. The slimeball decided he wants to marry me. He knows that I'm having a tough time with the joint, and he hopes I'll say yes rather than end up on the street.
That's so like Smiley. I didn't think he had a crush on you.
I'd rather not know it either.
Do you know where I can find him?
Not a clue, Jack. The thing that's important to me is that he stays far away from my joint.
If he really works for Marsetti, he'll know how to get into Little Peninsula.
You're a private detective. You won't have any problems finding out where he lives now.
Rushing into his house isn't an option. That guy isn't as dumb as he looks. He'd be on guard immediately if I showed up in the middle of the night.
So how do you want to see him?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I have a favor to ask you.
Let's see.
If Smiley's really sweet on you, he won't say no to a date with you.
What? You want me to go out with Smiley?
That's the idea.
Jack, it's out of the question. I don't have any intention of going out with him just to do you a favor.
Calm down. You won't have to go out with him. You just have to make sure that he comes here.
What do you mean?
Do you have a telephone upstairs?
Yes.
Okay. Call him and tell him to come to the joint. When he gets here, say you have to go put some makeup on your face or any other thing that you broads do before you go out. And go upstairs and call my office. You have the number. Then I'll take care of Smiley.
Can't you go out with that thug?
Greta, if this wasn't the only way I have to get into Little Peninsula and figure out who that girl is, I would never ask you.
Damn it, Jack. You now owe me 2 favors.
So I guess I'll buy you dinner twice.
You'll have to do a lot more than buy me dinner twice to pay off your debt.
I'll find a way. Call Smiley. I'll wait for the call in my office. If Smiley were to see me here when he got here, he'd get suspicious.
Okay.
Good. This must be Greta. Hello?
Jack, it's Greta.
Is Smiley there?
Yes, it's amazing how quickly he got here.
Typical.
He's downstairs. I came up with the excuse of putting my makeup on, but I can't make him wait all night, so hurry up and come here.
Did he come alone?
Yes, he's alone.
Okay, I'll be there in a second.
Jack, hurry up. I don't want that beast near me for another second.
I'm coming. I'd better head for the Red Tulip. Here's Smiley. Let's see if I can get him to talk. It's that half-wit Smiley.
Detective, what brings you here?
I saw the joint was open and I thought I'd pop in.
I'm afraid it won't be open long, though, since Miss Reed accepted my invitation for this evening.
Congratulations, Smiley. Now besides being a crook, you've become a lady killer.
You aren't jealous, are you?
Jealous of what?
Come on, detective. Even you aren't immune to the charms of Miss Reed.
I guess she prefers a man of your stature.
You're right. A woman like her needs someone who knows how to make her happy, who showers her with gifts and chauffeurs her around in luxury cars. I don't think that your detective's license gives you that luxury, does it?
Doesn't look like it. Do you know a certain Edward Marzetti?
Marzetti? No, I've never heard the name.
Don't play the fool, Smiley. I know you work for him.
I don't know where you got that information, but it's not true, detective.
Do you know a place called Little Peninsula?
No, should I?
Damn snake. A nice hook to his solar plexus, and I could get him to say he wears women's underwear. But I can't risk it. I have to find another way to get what I want. See ya, Smiley.
Goodbye, detective. Goodbye.
Blueberry juice. Only Smiley has the guts to drink this stuff. In all the time I've known him, I've never seen him drink real booze. Maybe a little booze will loosen Smiley's tongue. I've never seen anyone let their guard down so much with just a little booze. I've never seen anyone let their guard down so much with just a little booze. Let's see what he has with him. Smiley had a few bucks and this piece of paper with him. The Art of Chess by Humphrey de Forest. It looks like the title of a book. I better remember it, and I better leave the paper where I found it.
Ah, you again. Where we go this time?
— 65th Street, Upper East Side.
Okay.
Yes?
Hi.
Hello, sir.
I reserved a book.
Can you please give me the title?
The Art of Chess by Humphrey de Forest.
Ah, hi, Mr. Lowerstein. I'll get the door immediately.
So is this how a bookstore's warehouse looks like? I have to start going to bookstores. It looks like they're less boring than what they say. I admire how bad taste is just everywhere in this joint. Even the paintings show a complete lack of taste. Except for a bottle of gin, there isn't anything that looks like real booze on these shelves. They all look like syrups or fruit juices. The word kitchen is over the door. I guess they make food in there. A young, attractive bartender. Perfect for a place like this. I admire how bad taste is just everywhere in this joint. Even the paintings show a complete lack of taste.
Hello, sir. Do you want something to drink?
Yes, I'll have a whiskey. Make it a double, no rocks.
Sorry, we don't have whiskey.
You don't have whiskey?
We only make cocktails here. We have more than 50, and they're all great. If I may, I'd suggest you order an orange gin. It's our best cocktail.
I bet that's one of those cocktails that has an orange slice, ice, and a little umbrella.
An orange slice, ice, and a nice little umbrella.
I hate umbrellas when it rains, let alone in a drink. Forget about it. I don't want anything.
Whatever you want.
Anyway, I'm looking for Edward Marzetti.
Ah, are you a friend of Mr. Marzetti?
I just have to talk business with him.
I see. But Mr. Marzetti isn't here right now.
Where can I find Marzetti?
Ah, I wouldn't know. He's not here now.
Do you know when he'll be here?
Unfortunately, I don't. Mr. Marzetti's a busy person. He's not often in the club.
Why's the stage empty?
It's just a matter of time. Charlotte's show will start soon.
What's it about?
She's the club's main attraction. She's a belly dancer, and when she performs, there's never a free table.
Belly dancer. Sounds like a good way to relax. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
Well, look here. That's Howard, the older beau of little Susan Weber. It looks like our Howard likes a lot of the cocktails in here. It's a silver cigarette case with the initials HP. This junk will cost at least what I make in a month. Hi.
Hi, with whom do I have the pleasure?
Better use a fake name. I'm Kennel Riley. I'm a private detective.
Oh, a private detective. Fascinating. And tell me, Riley, are you one of those detectives that always goes around with a gun in their coat?
I hate guns. They just help certain detectives to feel more macho when they would be better off changing jobs instead.
Fascinating opinion. Let me introduce myself. I'm Howard Paul. Feel free to take my business card.
Howard Paul, film producer. It looks like a field where there's a lot of money to make.
Oh, but of course the real goal is to make art. Cinema is art.
Which I guess makes you an artist.
You could say that.
What are you doing here?
Oh, very simple. I was here in New York to promote my latest movie, The Little King. Mr. Marzetti insisted on my being his guest for the evening since he seems to be a big fan of mine. We spoke the entire time about how cinema can open up the world.
So, you were already able to get to know Marzetti?
Certainly, an interesting guy. We just ended our chat a few minutes ago when some urgent business kept him at his office.
So, Marzetti is still at the joint. The girl at the counter was probably told to say he was out.
Let me just say that we need more people like Marzetti. A true cinemaphile is just as important as a good director.
What type of movies do you produce?
Obviously, ones that sell well. Adventure, mystery, love stories. The genre doesn't matter. What matters is that it sells. And not to brag, but I never produced a film that didn't sell well. You must have seen The Night of the Falcon, right?
I must have missed it. I'm not a big fan of the movies.
I can assure you that you're one of the few who didn't see it. The critics considered it to be one of the best movies of the last 10 years. You know, it's about a detective, just like you. The director did a great job with the character. He's a real gentleman. He inherited from his family a lovely castle on the Scottish hills, but his incredible fame brings him around the world. From Tibet to ancient Egypt, he knows how to do almost everything. He's a martial arts master, an excellent fencer, and knows more than 8 languages. A great guy.
Right. He matches with most of the detectives I know. If it weren't for a certain dyslexia due to excessive drinking, and the fact that the most luxurious place they have ever slept in was a $1 per night motel.
You're very funny, and you have the perfect face for the movies.
When I get tired of tailing cheaters and 18-year-old runaways, I'll think about it. Bye, Howard.
Goodbye.
Hello again, sir.
Hi. I heard that Marzetti's at the club.
Who told you that?
Old acquaintances.
Well, I shouldn't say it, but Mr. Marzetti is actually in the club. But he expressly asked not to be disturbed.
Miss, I just need to see your boss for a few seconds.
Oh, no. These things always end badly. A friend of mine from my cinema classes almost lost her job for something like that.
So, you study cinema.
Oh, yes. My dream is to become a big star, working with the most famous directors, going to the openings, traveling in luxury cars. I love the life of a movie star. It's great.
How did you come to work here?
A friend of mine found me this job as a bartender. I wanted to say no at the beginning. But then I found out that a lot of people who work in the movies come to this club, and I thought that it might be a good way to meet someone.
Right. Knowing someone is the best way to get somewhere nowadays.
Oh, yes!
Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
The business card of the famous film producer Howard Paul. I bet that it's with this one that he seduced Harvey Weber's daughter, the tramp. This is my business card.
Howard Paul, film producer. Wow, you're a producer? I would have never guessed it from the look of you.
Right. A lot of people take me for an alcoholic ex-police officer.
I don't mean to offend you, but I'd have said the same thing. How come you are here?
I have to see Marzetti. I'm looking for some fresh faces, and I was told that he could help me.
Well, if you're a producer, I guess you wouldn't bother Mr. Marzetti. He loves the movies. And maybe you might think of me if you have a part in one of your movies?
Definitely. You have the perfect face for movies.
Really?
Certainly, and I know what I'm talking about. Going back to Marzetti, can you tell me where he is?
Oh, yes. He's upstairs in the last room at the end of the hall. Take the stairs to the right of the bar.
Thanks.
No problem. Remember, think of me for your movies.
Certainly. They look like VIP rooms. There are about 6 of them in the hallway. That must be Marzetti's office, and I bet that beast by the door isn't part of the decor. He must be Marzetti's bodyguard. Hey, Beast, I want to talk to your boss. That grimace, his size. I've already met this guy. It's the same one that tried to take off my jaw at the port. For a second, I am frozen like a statue, waiting for him to clock me with one of those hooks. Then I think about it. The port was as dark for me as it was for him. He must not have recognized me. At least, not yet.
Oscar, let him pass. Come in, sit down.
Are you Edward Marzetti?
That's right, who are you?
I'm Kennel Riley. I'm a private detective.
Kennel Riley. Interesting name. I'd have thought you were Italian from the looks of you.
You have a good eye.
As you can guess, my family's from Italy too. My parents were from a small town near Naples. Tell me, Riley, what brings you here?
I'm just passing by.
Passing by? All private detectives are always just passing by.
Right. We like to explore new places.
Come on, Riley. Let's stop faking. You're here for a reason. Which one of my customers is in trouble this time?
Looks like you're used to this type of visit.
This is a speakeasy, Riley. It's full of damn idiots ready to fall right in for the first crook that comes by. Even though access is reserved, an evening doesn't go by that new faces don't show up in this joint. It's not unusual for one of your colleagues to come by to ask questions about someone who should not have been here.
So, access to your joint is less restricted than it seems?
Looks like it. Only people on a specific list should come up. But I doubt you were on it, and yet you're here.
Aren't you worried by how easy it is to get into your joint?
The only reason for the password at the door is to make it seem exclusive for the regulars. That's it.
Talk to me about the joint.
It's one of the many joints where the New York haves come to have fun. They drink their cocktails, they hang out with a pretty girl, and the next morning they go back and wag their finger at alcoholism and prostitution as the main reasons why the city's going to the dogs.
So, your position lets you stay above all of them?
You could say that. Who do you believe governs the world? Those who have the power or those who know their secrets?
Managing a place like this lets you have more power than the people who come here.
That's right, Riley. You're a quick study.
I do what I can.
Ah, you're a great guy.
Right. And you should see the tattoo of the Balinese dancer that I have on my right thigh. What do you do for a living?
I have a few joints in New York and a couple in Los Angeles.
I know that you started from Little Italy.
I see you have been gathering information about me. I bought my first joint in the center of Little Italy called New Naples in honor of my hometown. There was still prohibition at the time, but with the right connections it was easy to make money. The rest came on its own.
You're self-made, as they say.
I'm a rather determined guy, Riley. If I want something, I get it.
I heard you're a movies fan.
Ah, I bet you've shared a few words with old Howard. That guy's a genius. You'd never think it to see him. He falls head over heels for the first woman he meets, but he has a nose for movies. He hasn't made a film that hasn't sold out.
I'm sure that the directors might have some credit, too.
Nearly all of the scripts that he has funded were, on paper, on the edge of decency, but he knew how to make the most out of them. Helped out by his financial resources, of course, and he isn't short on them.
Why did you invite him?
I have money to spend lately, and I've decided to invest it in the movies. They seem to have a good business potential. I've been courting old Howard for months to finance one of his films, but he's a tough guy. He always wants to do everything by himself. But sooner or later, I'll convince him, I'm sure.
Bye, Marzetti.
It's been a pleasure to talk with you, Riley. Come back to see me. I'll tell the bartender to let you in whenever you want. Just give your last name at the call box. You're not the kind of guy who lets a password get in his way.
Marzetti is a shrewd guy. I'll have to be very careful. I certainly can't simply ask him whether he knew Sean. But I'm sure I can find something interesting in his office. But how can I get in there without him being there? So now we know what this place is really about. It's nothing more than a whorehouse, a high-class whorehouse. Odd, there are some sofas. Maybe to make possible spectators comfortable. Rather explicit pictures. It looks like something was going on in this bed. Pictures of people in compromising positions. A red light, indispensable object to create the right atmosphere. A red light bulb. It's too hot to screw out with my bare hands. Yes, I should be able to unscrew it with a handkerchief without burning myself. Good. I let it cool down a bit. Now I can get it. With this, the room will become a perfect dark room.
Ah, you again. Where we go this time?
Essex Street, Lower East Side.
Okay.
It's not an expensive Art Deco chandelier, but this lamp gets the job done. It provides light. I think I can do without it. Yes, this lamp is perfect to get the right atmosphere that I need to develop photographs. Good. It's time to play photographer. The magnifier shoots its light beam, focusing right on the photographic paper. I take the page, and then I put it in the developing liquid, then in the fastener, and finally, I rinse it with water. I let the photograph dry for a while. 15 minutes, and the magic is done. Now I have a nice picture of Howard romancing with Harvey Weber's stepdaughter. The photographs that show Howard with Harvey Weber's daughter. Something tells me that I'll never get paid for these photos.
Where you want go?
65th Street, Upper East Side.
We see.
Yes?
It's Riley.
Of course, Mr. Riley.
What do you say about these?
Well, how did you get these photographs?
Unlike in your movies, in real life, a detective spends most of his time trailing cheats or butlers with a nimble hand. I don't usually run into dead bodies or take exotic trips.
Did you follow me to blackmail me?
I'm not a blackmailer, but it looks like we have a common acquaintance. Ms. Weber.
Susan?
Right, Ms. Susan Weber. Howard looks like a pretty impressionable guy. I'll have to change slightly the reason why Harvey Weber hired me. Her father asked me to find her and tell him who kidnapped her.
Kidnapped her? What are you talking about? I didn't kidnap anyone.
You don't have to tell me that. Tell Mr. Weber. He's a 6-foot-tall, 200-pound butcher. Not exactly the type of guy whom you can calm down by talking about the movies. Especially if you got up close and personal with his daughter.
And you want to give these pictures to that man?
That's what I'm paid for.
I'll pay you twice as much. I'm a rich man and I can pay any amount.
Don't start emptying your pockets. I've already told you I'm not a blackmailer, but you could be helpful.
What do you want for these photographs? You aren't going to give them to some crazy, violent guy, are you?
You might be helpful for something later on. You help me, and Mr. Weber will never find out about this little matter.
Okay, I'll do whatever you want. But please, don't go around flashing those photographs.
I have an offer for you. It looks like you're in the good graces of Marzetti, and that could be helpful.
I don't get it.
It's simple. Get Marzetti to leave his office long enough for me to take a look around.
Are you joking? I don't want any problems.
You already have problems. Having an affair with Mr. Weber's daughter wasn't a great idea, but if you do as I say, you won't have any problems.
Me? I don't know how I could help you.
You said that Marzetti was interested in your business.
Yes.
Good. Tell him that you've changed your mind. If he invites you to his office, make up something to get him to go out.
You're crazy. I'll never accept Marzetti's offer.
I don't care if you accept it or not. I just want Marzetti to leave his office. That's enough for me.
You're terrible.
Maybe you're right. Next time I see one of your movies, I'll take notes about how a gentleman detective acts. I sit at the bar and I order what, in this joint, is called a cocktail. I see Howard passing behind me and heading upstairs, but not before tossing a malicious glance my way. Relying on that sort of producer to get Marzetti away from his office isn't a great idea, but it's the only one that comes to mind at the moment. While I wait for Howard to come back, I drink my cocktail. Simply disgusting. There's enough sugar in it to kill a diabetic. A few sips later, I see Howard coming down the stairs. This time, Marzetti and his bodyguard are with him. It looks like that 2-bit producer actually did it, and I'm in the clear to go look around that big shot's office. I'd say it's the only way I can get in. Let's see what Marzetti's hiding. Imported whiskey, Italian and French wines? Our Marzetti takes care of himself. It's tempting, but I'm busy now. There are some glasses on the table. I'll take one. It could be helpful. From the smell of it, I'd say that this glass had brandy in it. A closet. Coats, shirts, ties. I'm not going to find much in here. Some spears and a shield. I don't need a degree in anthropology to figure out they come from Africa. I'll take the spearhead. It's not very sharp, but it looks rather strong. And this totem definitely takes the cake for the most garish thing in this place. I wonder how they could pick out something like this. These windows open onto a sort of terracing. A box of Cuban cigars. No, I hate the smell of cigars. That's an odd thing to keep on a desk. This series of discs doesn't seem like a simple knick-knack. A safe inside a totem. I love classy things. A safe inside a totem. I need a combination to open the safe. I don't have time to figure it out. I need to find a quicker way to open it. Good idea. I can use the glass to hear when the cylinders of the lock click. I opened it. These wads of cash are making me think that I'm in the wrong line of work. I'll take a wad. I'm sure it's dirty money, but it's better off in my pocket than in Marsetti's. There's a notebook in the safe. Yes, I'll take it. This notebook must have important information in it if Marsetti thought it needed to be in the safe. I'd better think about it. Yeah. Slavonsky's father used to work with encryption. Maybe he can help me figure out what's in the notebook.
I don't understand these idiot producers. First he wants to talk business downstairs, and then he changes his mind. He just wasted my time. Oscar, do you have the office keys? Damn it, I must have left them on Howard's table. I'm going to get them. You, stay here.
Dannazione. Howard didn't keep Marsetti away for even 10 minutes. I have to find a place to hide right now. Yes, a closet is a good place to hide.
I left the office open, but I was sure that I locked it. Oscar, make sure no one disturbs me. I have to make an important call. Hello? It's Marsetti. How's the search going? You had more than 2 hours and you still didn't get anything? And who is this guy? Jack Del Nero. A private detective. Let me guess. Is he Italian? How do I know? Simple. That guy was here until 5 minutes ago. He obviously gave me a fake name. Maybe he's still in the joint. I'd better go with Oscar and ask this guy a few questions. No way! We gave you more than enough time to take care of this and you failed. And now we'll take care of it. Oscar! Let's go. We have to talk to our new friend.
Something tells me that my next conversation with Marsetti won't be as cordial as the previous one. I'd better get out of here. These windows open onto a sort of terracing. Going out of the door is out of the question. I guess the windows are the only way out. Beyond this signboard, there are some fire stairs. If I could only find a way to reach them, I could get out of here. This fire escape could be a good way to get out of here. If only this signboard weren't there to stop me from getting there. The mounting of the sign to the wall doesn't seem to be in too good condition. At this point, the joint seems damaged. I can't think of anything. I don't see how I could use them together. I could try to lift it with the spearhead. Let's see. I doubt Marzetti will like this. I was never a big athlete, but I don't have a choice. Just like a cat, my muscles contract, and my arms work as counterweights as I get ready to jump. A not-so-young anymore cat with an alcohol problem and lungs full of tar. Now is not a good time to indulge in self-criticism.
Ah, you again. Where we go this time?
Essex Street, Lower East Side.
Whatever you want.
What can I do for you, Del Nero?
Goodbye, Slavonsky.
Good.
Your old man deciphered codes, right?
Da.
Can you decipher this notebook?
Del Nero, deciphering skill isn't something you inherit. I never had my old man's passion for codes, and I never mixed up with his job.
So you don't have any idea about how I could read what's written in this notebook?
I can tell you that most of the codes used to hide information are based on substitution cipher, also known as Caesar cipher. In fact, the emperor of ancient Rome used to code his messages using a cipher based on the shifting of each letter by one or more positions. If you assume that you shift each letter by one, then A would become B, the B would become C, and so on. If you find out what exact number is shift, you get information that you look for.
It's easier than I thought.
Before you say it, I suggest you try it.
Slavonsky, this is the first time since I've met you that I have a reason to think you're more than just a stingy landlord.
Del Nero, maybe our relationship would change today, but don't think I won't toss you out on your ear if you don't pay rent.
And don't you think that I'm going to start taking your threats seriously. I'll try to use the method that Slavonsky suggested me. Good. Now that I have figured out how the code works, nothing can stop me from sticking my nose into Marzetti's business. Written in this booklet, there are pages and pages of names of people working for Black Lily. Starting from delivery boys and police officers and going all the way up to cardinals and politicians. The more you read, the higher the rank of the mentioned person. I wouldn't be surprised to find God's name at the end of the list. But I don't have to get all the way to the end of the list to find the name that I was looking for, the name that I knew that I was going to find. I just had to get halfway through the booklet to find Leroy Malone's name. Maybe this will be the most idiotic thing that I'll ever do in my life, but nothing will stop me from getting into that department and shoving proof about Marzetti's ties to Black Lily in his face.
Hey, you. If you're looking for Lieutenant Malone, you're not lucky at all. He left half an hour ago.
Where'd he go?
I don't know, but he left this for you.
Malone has disappeared. The only thing he left is this piece of paper with a number on it. 555-7589.
Ah, you again. Where we go this time?
Essex Street, Lower East Side.
Okay.
Hello, New York operator. I'm listening.
Can you dial a number for me?
What's the number?
Five 7589.
Coming up.
Hello?
Malone, is that you?
Del Nero. I'm happy to see you got my message.
Yeah, and I have also found out a couple of interesting things about you.
You don't know nothing, Del Nero.
You're on Marzetti's payroll, I know that. You think it's enough?
So go report me to the head detective. No, wait. Go tell the police chief in person. If you don't know their names, you can find them in that notebook you took from Marzetti.
I see you know about the notebook.
I was informed about it.
Let me guess. You were the one that Marzetti was talking to when he realized that I wasn't just one of the many detectives passing through his joint.
Looks like you listened to the telephone call.
Yeah.
Del Nero, this is too big for you. This isn't some jealous wife who kills her husband or some rich guy knocked off because of a will. Get out of the city. Take the girl with you if you want, but disappear forever.
Thanks for the advice, but I intend to get to the bottom of this.
Why did you do it? It's certainly not to get justice for your old pal McLean.
Could be. After all, he gave his life to protect a kid. I think he deserves it.
I didn't take you for such a sentimental guy.
Everyone has his defects.
Del Nero, if you really want to know what's going on, be at Ellis Island in a half an hour, and I'll tell you everything.
Ellis Island? Who's to say it isn't just a trap?
No one. But I'm sure you'll be there. You're a guy who's more curious than careful.
Ellis Island. Half an hour.
Don't be late.
You know how to get to Ellis Island?
What you want to do at Ellis Island in middle of night?
Just answer the question.
Of course I know get to Ellis Island.
Okay, let's go. Ellis Island. Any immigrant who came to improve his lot in this country knows this island. This is where they put you the first time you set foot in America. As soon as you get off the boat, a guy with an elegant white lab coat visits you. If you don't have health or mental problems, you're allowed to enter the registration room. There, some kind of inspector asks you all kinds of information about you: where you were born, how much money you have, and if you have a criminal record. If you answer correctly to all these questions, welcome. Starting today, you're part of the grand old USA too. The Statue of Liberty. When I got to New York, it was the first thing I saw. A powerful and proud woman with a torch full of hope, shining her light on the entire world. But today, that hope has turned into melancholy. Melancholy for everything we could have become in this country, but didn't. It must be Malone. It must be Malone.
Hi, Del Nero.
Malone.
A man was killed at the Melville port tonight by the usual suspects. That's basically what I was supposed to write in the report about the McLean homicide. That's what Black Lily ordered me to do. But something changed their plans. Your friend was able to escape, hide the girl, and call the police. And if that weren't enough, he decided to call you too. He knew that the people who were looking for him wouldn't have had any problems buying the silence of some lieutenant or even of the police chief. So he needed someone he considered to be incorruptible. You.
Sean always thought too much of my honesty.
Even before escorting you to the department, I had instructions to frame you. You had a history with McLean, and that made things easier for me. The point was to keep you here until the men from Black Lily, disguised as forensics, collected everything they needed from the port.
A perfect plan.
Right. But your friend got involved, paying your bail and pointing you to the trail of the real killers of your former colleague. Even if you were out on bail, I never thought you'd make it all the way to Marsetti.
It seems that, as a detective, I'm not a complete washout yet. And it also seems that you are not as honest as the award hanging in the police department affirms with so much pride.
Well, that isn't just a simple award, Del Nero. It's a promissory note on my soul.
Explain that.
I received that award from Mayor Weston for having caught Samuel Cutter, the former boss of Black Lily here in New York.
Yes, I know the case. And I'm also smart enough to understand that not everything is as rosy as it seems.
Cutter wasn't well seen, and the organization didn't like it. They knew that with the public opinion against them, getting control over the city wouldn't have been as easy as it had been in the past. So they decided to get Cutter and all the people connected to him arrested. At least, that's what they wanted the people to believe. Actually, the only ones who ended up in the slammer were simple collaborators and a few small-time crooks. In some cases, even regular folks who for some reason had a debt with them.
Patrick Olson.
Well, he was one of the many.
Malone, why are you telling me this story?
Because you are my only chance at redemption, Del Nero, at least in part for everything I've done over the years.
Do you think that by letting me live, I'll destroy an organization like Black Lily? Malone, I'm a private detective, not a superhero in a kid's comic book.
I'm not expecting anything from you, Del Nero. But given how the organization is persisting on looking for the girl, I guess she's got to be pretty important to them. And if they can't find her, maybe something might change.
They'll get rid of you as soon as they figure out what you're doing.
If that's how things are supposed to go, let them.
What are you planning to do now?
Nothing. I'll just wait and see what happens. And there's no better place to do that than in front of a huge statue that symbolizes justice.
Whatever you want.
Well, good luck, Del Nero. May destiny smile on you.
I don't believe in destiny, Malone.
I'm sure.
I leave Malone with his thoughts and go away. Maybe his advice to get a change of scene isn't as bad as it seems. Maybe that's what I should do. I should disappear. All of a sudden, a hiss interrupts my thoughts, and then silence again, a silence full of death. Malone crumples over as if he were without a skeleton, a limp body that hits the floor. Then a second hiss. A sharp pain in my neck. I fall on my knees. My muscles aren't responding to me. Anesthetic. My vision starts to get cloudy. I fall into darkness.
I hate people who are late, and the guy that I'm waiting for should have been here more than an hour ago. I can't stand it. I can't stand any of the reasons why people are late. Whether they didn't plan their time properly, had a problem, or even worse, know that the person who's waiting for them doesn't have a choice. The man that should have been here an hour ago has documents that I need to have if I want to leave this state with the girl. Without those, I would have to stay in this dump for who knows how long. All of a sudden, the joint's door starts to creak. Someone's coming in. A horrible stench of cologne fills me nostrils. It's him. It's Smiley. He sits down at the bar and starts talking like we were old friends. I cut him short and I ask him if he has what I need. He puts the documents on the table, a nautical passport and a permit to let the girl get on board. He tells me that the passport is missing the photograph and that I'll have to get one myself. Then he takes a napkin and writes a name. Sainte Marie de la Mer. This is the name of the ship that I have to take to leave New York. Getting on a mercantile ship pretending to be a sailor is the only way that I have found to leave the state. And according to what Smiley says, I'll have to get to Brooklyn to do so. I expressly asked to set sail from Newark, but Smiley doesn't seem to have understood. I'm grasped by an incredible desire to punch him in the face, but it's not the time. I give Smiley the money. $50. Too much for false documents, but not that excessive considering that they are the only way to save me life. After taking the money, Smiley sputters something that sounds like good luck and leaves. Taking with him the stench of his cologne dabbed on in the hope of hiding the chemical stench of the crap he works with all day. Ridiculous. The guy that I almost put in the slammer a few years back for forging documents is now the same guy from whom I'm buying me freedom. Destiny is a strange thing.